We are sitting here at Kegels Inn at 59th and National, and I am here with Julian Kegel,
Hi there.
owner. And where to start with this place? It's been here for a long time.
Yeah.
It has had a deep relationship with the community. What keeps it going?
Kegels. Not the exercise, but
Right.
sorry.
I mean,
Yeah.
you got to have good food.
Yeah,
You've got
for sure.
excellent German beer, and you've got a very loyal following.
Yeah,
and,
definitely.
You know what? Is there one? I mean, is it the food? Is it the atmosphere? Is it
Yes.
all of it?
It's everything.
Everything.
Honestly,
keeps people coming back.
Yeah. When I was a young kid, I'd come here for Christmas parties, and that was really about it.
Yeah.
Okay. And every time I came here, it was either, with Christmas parties, we like to sort of limit the menu. It's easier for planning in the kitchen, and we either do like fish or duck or a steak or something like that. And I had the duck one time when I was a kid among this big party, and you've got 4 or 5 different generations. And the meal, you just bite into it and you're like, oh my God, this is the best thing I've literally ever had in my life. So as a young kid, you get that burned into your brain.
Sure.
And then, you move on, you go to school, you leave family, and then you find your way back to Milwaukee at some point for the holidays, and it's something comes back and you're like, oh, I should go to Kegels for that duck, right? And I find so many people have been here through a party, anniversary, birthday, and it just triggers this like sort of feeling of warmth and graciousness that you feel here. I mean, everything here is so warm and put together. Like it's just a really nice experience every time you come here. So
well, it's a unique setting, and in the Milwaukee area, being so German, you still seem to stand above a lot of the other places.
We appreciate that, for
and
sure.
It's really, I mean, it's one of the things that I hear from residents who have just discovered this or who have been coming here for generations,
Right.
and they love this place, and they would put your fish fry up against anything.
Amen. Well, I think the beauty is that everybody who works here, everybody who comes here, everybody who's been a Kegel also loves this place.
Yeah.
And you can see it in the woodwork, and you can see it in the quality of the murals. But more so, like the food itself is fantastic. We put so much work into slow roasting all of our meals that you can just tell as soon as you bite into it that the recipes are authentic and they take a lot of time and a lot of care, a lot of love goes into them. So.
And how do you? I mean, you have obviously some mainstays on your menu, and there are a lot of German recipes here that have been
for sure
steady for years. And then, do you mix in any new recipes? Do you come up with new creations? Do you?
Very infrequently. I think.
Okay.
I'm sort of new to the restaurant business,
Right.
And one of the things I try and do is just be out front and talking to customers and seeing where they come from and what they've had before. And the overwhelming response has been, "Don't change it." When you look at these customers that have come in for 40, 50, 60 years sometimes, they literally get the same thing they've always got, So it's really hard to be contemporary in a traditional food setting.
What's your best seller?
Our fish fries obviously are
fries.
super popular, but
Yeah.
in terms of the German specialties, our duck is very special. So
Okay.
we call it our house specialty. We homemake all the gravies, we homemake all the stuffing that it goes onto.
Okay.
So
Okay.
it's a labor of love for sure.
And then just the decor. I mean, stained glass, murals.
Yeah.
What can you tell me about? Do you know who did the windows?
Well, they weren't for just beautiful aesthetics of the restaurant. They served a purpose. When this place was open, 1924, this was during Prohibition.
Okay.
And it kept onlookers from peering in, seeing the ruckus that was going on inside.
Okay.
Right? And I'm
So
sure
they're
at some
twofold.
yeah, definitely. So I'm sure at some point, like you have city officials, cops even drinking,
Sure.
Of course it's rebellious.
Sure.
But that was kind of the time, right? And so the structure itself is sort of meant to be a revival of English style while incorporating German heritage.
Okay.
Right? That's why you'll see a lot of the German hunting scenes the British hunting scenes on the walls. It was meant to sort of align ourselves with the Allies during the war, right? And so this was a very critical time in history where, like, being German meant being American, but also not Nazi, right?
Yeah.
So they wanted to clearly identify the purpose of this place,
yeah.
right, and separate themselves. The stained glass, the bar is original, all the murals are original. They kind of happened over a sequence of time.
Okay.
So obviously when you budget for a building, you can't pay the the mural artist right away.
Mm-hmm.
So that's why he was here for 7 years. I'm sure lots of free meals were included in that, or
Right.
some sort of
Some
payment
bartering.
over time, because this would be incredibly expensive to recreate
Right.
if something were to ever happen to this place. You can see all around us buildings that don't get money invested into them. They sort of go by the wayside, and then
Yep.
just like Roosevelt School up here, it was cheaper for them to build the exact same structure and tear down this old classic building.
Yeah.
This beautiful old school.
Right.
And then it's gone forever, right? Nobody remembers it other than the neighbors that are like, man, it's such a shame that this place is there. I've been
people that
going
went
there.
there.
I went to grade school there, And
I know.
I think this place has similar characteristics.
Yeah. Is there one thing since you've taken over that's surprised you that you did not expect?
I think the ability for maybe 1,000 people a week to come here and be happy every single time they come back.
Okay.
And
Okay.
I dig for customer complaints and trying to find something that's wrong, because I think we all have to always improve, right? Whether it's the back end systems or how things are garnished or whatnot. Like we can try and perfect everything, but
You've had a lot of employees that have been here for quite a while, right?
oh my gosh, yeah.
Yeah.
I mean,
I've
decades.
Yeah.
And
I've seen a lot of the same faces when I've come
for
in.
sure. And what's kind of funny is that like now we are this next generation,
Sure.
and some of our waitresses has served me when I was a little kid,
Yeah.
and they remember me growing up,
Sure.
and that's pretty cool for them too.
Let's talk German beer for
Sure.
a second.
Yeah.
You've got a lot of very authentic
Definitely.
Spattens, and I mean,
Mhm.
are there other? I'm asking this as a kind of a minor league beer nerd, but are there beers in Germany you hear about that you would love to say, I'd love to serve this at Kegels if it ever comes this way, or if it's ever available? Or
Sure. Well, I think before I answer that question, I'll have to go to Germany, go over there,
research,
research, and then come back and we'll bring some
set
stuff in.
goals. Yeah.
But it's all in the vision, right? Because the Hollander group and the Lowlands guys that do Hollander,
Sure.
they went over to Belgium and they studied beer and they brought it back, and they've cultured this beer scene here in Milwaukee. It's not manufactured by any means.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
So with the history that I think we have here, that's definitely possible, especially for the revival of all the beer gardens.
Yeah.
So many more German places are sort of being popular.
The county parks.
County parks, yeah. When Potawatomi has a Oktoberfest, it's popular.
Yeah. Right.
And we've sort of always existed on the sort of the main line. It's maybe sometimes off the beaten path
Sure.
for people who go downtown or whatnot.
Sure.
But as soon as they recognize like West Allis is like we're sort of the hub of Milwaukee here, and like between Tosa and West Allis, like we have a really sort of blossoming scene here, right?
Yep.
You have a fantastic downtown within walking distance of here, and like during the summer, I mean, it's just unbelievable how many people come through this area.
And it's really neat because we've, as we've seen a combination of a lot of new places opening up,
Yeah,
and they're
definitely.
partnering really well with some of the places like Kegels that have
Sure.
been here for so long.
Yeah,
and it's
yeah.
really popping into a cool dining scene in this community.
Sure has.
And we're
Absolutely.
glad you're a part of it.
Definitely. Yeah.
Yeah.
We're super happy to be a part of it,
Yeah.
honestly. Like it's an absolute pleasure. Well, now I'm blessed to be accompanied by my wife, Stephanie Kegel, who's not originally from Milwaukee, but comes from Michigan. And we met up in Alaska, actually. So I had to go all the way to Alaska to find a super hardworking girl from the Midwest to help take over the restaurant here at Kegels Inn. We're the fourth generation here, sort of ushering the new generation into Kegels Inn.
So I guess for me, I started working here behind the bar probably 2.5 years ago, and started bartending and got quite a few turned heads because I was one of the first female bartenders in the history of Kegels. And then started serving tables, and then have worked to the back of the house. So now I'm mostly in the back cooking and doing all the food orders and all the back end stuff that is responsible for putting out the good food.
That's kind of beautiful in the restaurant world. You've got the front of the house, the back of the house, and they have to work seamlessly together, or else you have conflict between the doors. And I think one of the things that our staff have really enjoyed is a team that works together and tells them the same message, the same style of communication that works for us has been really effective here. There's so much to do in the restaurant world that I couldn't imagine doing it by myself. I'm so lucky to have her help me out.
And I think for me, I'm lucky. This place was kind of proposed to us by Jim and Rob, brothers who had run it for the last 37 years. And I was kind of the first one to kind of come over and take a look at if it was something that we wanted to do to make it worthwhile. And Julian was then working at Wheel and Sprocket along with his siblings for his dad, another family-run business by the Kegels. And it was kind of to the point where it was like, Julian, you have to come work at the restaurant now because I can't do it all by myself. And I don't know for so many years how Rob Kegel did so much on his own, even just in the back of the house, because I know now Julian's also working in the back, not just in the front. So it was a good transition for both of us, and I think now that we're both working together, we definitely get to see more of each other. I think I feel this, and I think something that we offer is a set of options for people that are unlike anywhere else. So we have food on our menu that people either have never seen before or they won't be able to see other places. And even if they see it other places, it doesn't mean that it's homemade. And here, everything is made from scratch, from the purest ingredients. And so for us, you're not just going to get, a pre-made sandwich that's been put together by somebody at a different site and brought in and sold after it's sitting in saran wrap or something. The bread is fresh from local bakeries that we work with. Same with all the ingredients that go into everything. So I think in that way, we're at an advantage compared to other diners and that sort of thing.
We've done a fair amount of traveling in the last several years, and when you're traveling, you eat out. And technology has made eating out so much easier to filter through all of the run-of-the-mill places. You tend to find, although they're not more expensive technically, they put more effort and more love into the creation of their food, and that's an alignment that we always saw as a perfect fit here in Kegels Inn. So we've sort of searched out this concept of what food should mean to us. And I think that when we came in here, we were like, well, we're not really sure what Kegels Inn is, because I only remember it as a kid growing up. But it took months and years now to really sort of appreciate that this exists right here at home. There's so many benefits of a place where you can sit down, you can get to know your server, because she'll be here in 10 years, and you'll grow up with them, and they're the same people that you look forward to meeting again, or seeing again, or getting waited on by. There's just nothing better than being greeted by a friendly face that recognizes you, and I think Kegels Inn really tries to do that for everybody.
Hi, I'm Jim Kegel, and this is my brother Rob Kegel. We were the former owners of this restaurant, and we passed it down to the next generation.
Business started in 1924 by our grandparents who immigrated from Austria, and they ran it from 1924 till 1933 as a soft drink parlor. It was a speakeasy at the time until Prohibition ended. Then they expanded it, made it 3 stories. It was a 1-story building at that time. They ran it up until 1945 when the war ended, and our father took it over from 1945. He ran it from 45 until 55 when Julian's father took it over, and he ran it from 55 to 66.
Julian's grandfather.
Or Julian's grandfather, that's right. And then in 66, our father took John, he took it over again, and he ran it until 1980 when we took it over. And we ran it from 85 until 2016 when Julian and Stephanie took it over. Got to the point where I wanted it to go to a 4th generation. I wasn't planning on retiring until I found somebody in the family who would take it over. I wasn't having great luck doing it. And then talking with Julian's father, Chris just said, do you know anybody? 3-4 years ago, he really didn't. The only taker we had at that time was actually Chris's brother, Bill. He said he'd like to take it over. And I just thought, that'd be short term. I'd have it back again. Once I leave, I really didn't want to come back into it. And then I met Julian and Steph. And they seemed perfect, and they seemed to want to do it. So it took a few years of talking, and they're into it. They seem to really enjoy it. Hope they really do. I wish them the best of luck.
But once this business is in your blood, you just can't do anything else. We are so lucky. We have wonderful customers. The people of West Dallas are wonderful. We never have any problems. Once you start doing this, you can't ever do anything else. The hours are long, but you just don't mind. Well, for 30 years, I've enjoyed coming to work every single day. And I still work part-time, and I still continue to love coming to work. It's really a great business to be in.
And a lot of that we can say for the direction of the city of West Dallas. They're doing a great job. They definitely want us to be here, being on the east side of West Dallas. It's very important that we're here, and it's very nice that we're going to be here for another 35, 40 years.